Let's try out a few patches with Route 4 that were suggested in the Discord server. So the first one is to try and pair up filter 8 and Route 4. For the first, conceptual patch, I'll just use filter 8 in audio mode. It's self-oscillating. Let's switch them up a bit. Maybe like that. The cool thing is, with a suggestion like this idea came to life in someone else's head, and I have no clue what this should do. It's mentioned that this might behave like wave folding, but it's with a very big question mark at the end. Let's listen to what is coming out of Route 4. I'm really curious. So what's going in is, it's a sine wave because it's made with a oscillating filter. Oh wow, it doesn't want to track. Let's just do it like this. So you get indeed different types of sounds. You can see the difference between the waves here. So that's, well, I'm not sure if this was the intended result, but I mean, I really want to get this stable. Wait a second. Let's use, it's a little bit better. I mean, every patch that can create these kind of at some point I made house-like waves. I mean, they really had the shape of a house. This is more like, an earth ship with a chimney. Okay, let me see if this behaves drastically different if I change out a few of the inputs. Yeah, that was a shape we weren't getting before. Okay, that's promising already. So maybe like this. Oh, yeah. We're always getting different shapes out of this. Maybe, why not like this? It's not like I still have a clue what's happening here. Oh. So, yeah, this really kind of works. At least it does something interesting. I'll set to solo. So, Hoofdjaw, you can rest assured this works. A different suggestion was to do this in with filter 8 in low mode. Again, I'm going to use one of these outputs to clock my oscilloscope here. And let's now try it with just opposing waves. Here, the inverted ones going here. Let me just stick with audio first to see if this does anything. So even when you're using two outputs of filter 8 that are 180 degrees out of phase, they don't cancel each other out, at least not in this setting. And then I can try out some variations. Stick it here. And let's stick that one into that control input. So that's doing something different. What happens when I do this? well, then we have a similar situation as before. Now, low mode. So then I need to turn off this and zoom out a bit. And this is giving me, well, momentary gates. It's really interesting to see what these different combinations create. But it's really stable. It's not kind of spinning out of control. And this is giving us kind of a gate pattern, but not completely how it was intended. Let's patch in. Can you see any of these LEDs? Let's just patch in one of these. Yeah, those aren't random gates. Is this to any? No, I need to take this. I always forget. I don't think this is working. Maybe I've interpreted it wrong. This is not giving us gate patterns. I know a few people asked if Route 4 is, well, clickless when kind of used as, well, binary VCA. I don't know how to call it. For muting and unmuting sounds. And of course, then it would make sense to have clickless switches. But I don't think they are clickless. They're really sharp. And I think, apart from muting audio, it's a benefit to have it this sharp. Something else was suggested by me. Well, I want to see what happens when I send the core output of all these cables. It's ridiculous. I want to see what happens when I send the core output of a Generate 3 here. Oh wow, the scope is not my friend today. No, we should listen to this. I'm so confused. Like that. And then when I use one of the other outputs on Generate 3, let's try the fundamental out. So this is at a higher rate, as you can see, than the triangle core. And I just want to see what happens, not like this, when I patch this through Route 4. Let's take this input for now. Let's patch this through as well. And let's listen to the output of Route 4. And this is represented as the red trace. Let's see what happens. And that's really not a lot. So what's... I had to turn up the amplitude of my sine wave a bit. So Route 4 reacts to weak and slow signals as well, but there has to be something for it to catch on. And when I turn the phase on Generate 3, and the phase modulation, either manual or with CV, only affects the harmonic generator outputs. So the sine, the even and the odd output, the core is not influenced by this phase modulation. Well, what happens if I use another one of the harmonic generator outputs? This time the saw, or even let's patch it into another input on route 4. And maybe with the odd output instead. Look, I'm almost getting those kind of house shapes again. So apart from this I don't see a lot of interesting options here. Let me just, for the sake of it, modulate the phase on generate 3 with an audio rate signal. No, let's stick it to LFO rates. Yeah, so enough of that. And let's try out one more suggestion. Sorry, make a sequence. Let's turn some random knobs here on Moscow 2. Run this simple sequence into the routing input of the top half of route 4. Let's listen or watch the output. And because this channel is not open, it's not active, we need to do something about that to actually see the pitch sequence and get it going through route 4. So indeed I can use this is giving me exactly a 5-volt offset, so I can keep the gate open. So this is a quantized pitch sequence, so I'm just going to let it run through, and then it's suggested to stick in 3 channels of the lower half of route 4. So 1, 2, no, I should stick it into the control inputs. I'm always getting confused. I'm sure after a while I'll just intuitively know where I have to patch them. Aha, no, it was actually the right way to interpret this patch, and then I should take carefully selected gates. Let's use the clock out of the Moscow 2 to clock Zularic repetitor here. This has some kind of pattern going on, but let's first patch this through to an oscillator. Well, I'm going to use delay 1 here, right off screen, because that sounds rather nice once you get it to feedback on itself. Okay, and let's now send in a few gates here. So now the melody is getting stacked on top of itself by routing the bottom signals here, but I was just thinking the same thing, that I need to melt some 5-volt offsets to keep these bottom channels open. You probably can't see it, but now the bottom signals are all permanently open. So the output of the top half is getting routed through with the built-in normalization, and this sequence gets sent out of these 3 outputs, and these sequences get sent back in here to be stacked on top or mixed together with the already quantized sequence. It's kind of a perpetual cycle of sequencing feedback. Really clever. So switching this to latch is not very interesting. Ooh, this sounds like my cell phone vibrating. Now what if I switch this to solo here on the bottom? The weird thing here is that this first... So for some reason this one went dark. I think that's what withthe meant when he said there's some reset action going on when you trigger 2 channels at the same time when in solo mode. And indeed, I don't know why, but the first channel that's receiving 5 volt from bias 2 is being muted. Then I need to plug out. When I unplug and plug the 5 volt back in, then it once again works as well as it did when I just set it up. Yeah, so that's it for this quick. It's not so quick, but I ran over the patches rather quickly. I think I found some cool applications, especially the waveform splicing, or how should I call it, with filter 8. Yes, very interesting. Bye.